What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today is the 14th of February, Valentine's Day, 2025. In today's video, we're going to talk about the death of former NFL player and coach Dick Jauron, whose best season as a coach was in the year 2001, when he won AP Coach of the Year. Due to having cancer, Jauron has passed away at the age of 74. And in this video, we're going to talk about how his death is indeed a numerical riddle to the year 2001. When you look at his coaching record throughout the years, we find that Dick Jauron only had one winning season, a surprising 13-3 year with the Bears in 2001. Never again did he have a winning record as a coach, with 2009 his last season as a head coach in the NFL. And the first thing I want you to notice is his last year with Chicago, when he went 7-9. 7-9 was the same record he had in all 3 years coaching for the Buffalo Bills. 2006 through 2008, all 3 full seasons he spent with the team. And that record, 7-9, stands out because in the language of gematria, the last name Jauron equals 79. Gematria calculates the numeric value of any name, word, or phrase, and it all begins right here in the alphabetic order. This brings us to the base 4 methods of gematria, and as the video goes, we will, as always, explore the extended methods, both Latin and standard English gematria. So, thanks for tuning in again. It's been a little over a week since I streamed. You know, I just got over one illness, and then I spent this weekend in a room packed full with other people, which got me a little sick again, but I think I can make it through this video without too many pauses. So again, thanks for your patience. Now, we're going to start talking about the number 74. Dick Jauron is connected to the year 2001 in another way. Notice how his Wikipedia page shows his photo as a member of the Yale Bulldogs football team. Yale is where Dick Jauron played his college football, and he was drafted to the NFL in the year 1973. Well, 1973 is the year that the World Trade Center opened, and of course, the Twin Towers were destroyed in the year 2001 when he won AP Coach of the Year. The man who was in the Oval Office of the White House during the 9/11 attacks was, of course, George W. Bush, who was born in New Haven, Connecticut, home of Yale University, and just like his father, graduated as a member of the infamous Skull and Bones Society. So this video will explore the connections to 9/11 and the Skull and Bones Code that's so prevalent on this channel. Now, after that 2001 season, when the Bears went 13-3, Chicago would go on to lose their first playoff game of the year, and they gave up 33 points in a loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, of course, just one day after Dick Jauron passed away, it was the Philadelphia Eagles who defeated the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. So we'll talk a little bit about the Super Bowl towards the end of this video, depending a little bit on how I feel, I guess. But I also want to point out the date of this game, January 19th. This is a date that is written as 1/19 on the calendar, which, of course, has the same digits as 9/11. Looks like I got a stuck key problem here. Probably got to change a battery. So let's start with the age of Dick Joran when he died, 74 years old. He passed away on February 8th, which is 7 months and 4 days after the date 7/4, or July 4th. His death was also a span of 7 months and 4 days before the anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. In the alphabetic order, the word Masonic equals 74, whereas in reduction, Skull and Bones Society, also 74. Now, as we move along in this video, we'll take a look at how this story is also connected to the next total solar eclipse to pass over the planet Earth, which occurs in August of 2026. Total solar eclipse is a phrase that also has gematria of 704 and 74, similar to the ordinal value of the word killing, a number we commonly see in stories of early demise. The word killing also equals 43, and this is another significant number to Dick Joran, whose name equals 43 in the standard reduction method, matching the word football, which equals 43 in reverse reduction. And when it comes to the sport of American football, make sure you do your research on a man named Walter Camp, who also attended Yale College, which is essentially the birthplace of American football. The modern rules of the game are often credited to this man right here, Walter Camp, from Yale. Yale's nickname is the Bulldogs, and check out how both Yale and Bulldogs each equal 43 in gematria. The next team that hired Dick Joran as their full-time head coach was the Buffalo Bills, who I mentioned earlier in this video. Buffalo Bills has that matching 426 gematria with Yale University. This school also equals 2009 in the trigonal method, and it just so happens that 2009 was his last season with the team. He would get fired 9 games into the year. Measuring from the original founding date of Yale University all the way back in 1701 to the death of Dick Joran is exactly 3,880 months. And 388 is the satanic gematria of the word sacrifice. This number, or this cipher, I mean, is constructed around the number 666. And this is an important number to Chicago right now. Again, Chicago, where Joran had the best years of his career. The city of Chicago and the Bears is currently sitting on 666 all-time losses in NFL history. This is a city that's home to the 60606 zip code. And this was the big number of the playoffs. You know, I've talked about this a lot on my channel. The Commanders got their 666th win during the playoffs, but then lost to Philadelphia, who got their 666th win. And had the Eagles lost the Super Bowl, they would have been 666 and 666. Of course, the Commanders beat the Lions to win their 666th game. And the Detroit Lions are a team that Dick Joran coached on an interim basis back in 2005. Yale's nickname, the Bulldogs, also equals 38, which is a very significant number in death. The words death, killing, and murder all sum to 38. The same 2 digits coded into the movie poster for Murder by Numbers. The name Joran also equals 38, as well as 79. Well, when Dick died, he was exactly 3,879 weeks old. 79 also connecting to the gematria of the word murder in ordinal. Yale University and Eclipse sacrifice, both 79 as well. And again, I'll look at the Eclipse code shortly. Before we get there, I want to touch on this man, Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson was hired as the head coach of the Bears on January 21st, just last month. Now, rather intriguingly, if you measure from the date that this man was hired to the death of Dick Joran, you get 18 days. Well, 18 is the value of Bears in reduction. Also, the name Dick summing to 18 in that same cipher. Ben Johnson was born on May 11th, or 5/11. 5/11 is the gematria that Joran shares with Chicago Bears. But this guy, Ben Johnson, also has a unique connection to the 9/11 attacks. On the date of those attacks, Johnson was exactly 15 years and 4 months of age. In the reverse alphabetic order, his name, Ben Johnson, equals 154. In the alphabetic order, his name equals 116. And when you flip this number upside down, well, you get the 9/11. There it is. On the date that Dick Joran passed away, Ben Johnson was a span of exactly 2,022 weeks old. And 2022, a number connected to skull and bones. With the ampersand, this phrase with square gematria of 2022. But next, I want to talk about how this is all connected to the Eclipse code. And in particular, this phrase, total solar eclipse. So the former Chicago coach dies on a date with numerology of 35. Chicago, 35 in reverse reduction. This gives us an important prime number connection. The 35th prime number is 149, prime numbers only divisible by 1 and themselves. Well, check out how Dick Joran died in the city of Swampscott, Massachusetts, which is a terrific name for a town, by the way. But Swampscott is also the high school he attended back in the early 70s. Swampscott equals 149 in the alphabetic order, matching the ordinal value of skull and bones. The secret society with so much importance at Yale. Now, in the reverse alphabetic order, skull and bones equals 202. Joran's full name, Richard Manuel Joran, equals 202 in the alphabetic order, and 85 in reduction. Well, 202 and 85 are also found in the phrase total solar eclipse. In fact, Joran's birthday of October 7th is the date that leaves 85 days on the calendar. And Yale, the birthplace of American football, has matching 85 gematria with National Football League. Don't forget, a few years ago, John Madden, the voice of the NFL, passed away at age 85. But I want to look more closely at the date this guy passed away, February 8th, which in the United States is, of course, written as 2/8. In ancient Hebrew gematria, the phrase for total solar eclipse sums to 280, like 2/8. Joran died 280 months and 28 days after the 9/11 attacks, which occurred just before his best coaching season. using capital letters, a cipher we call capitals added, which maintains the alphabetic order but adds 26 for every capital letter. Richard Manuel Joran equals 280. And his birthday, October 7th, is the 280th day of the year. And then he dies on 2/8. February 8th also leaves 326 days in the year, and also with capitals, the name Dick Joran equals 326. But next up, I want to look at how this is connected to the next total solar eclipse, which mainly occurs in the Arctic. You'll see it's close to Greenland. There is where the peak happens. I wonder if Donald Trump's Greenland excursions lately have anything to do with this. Certainly a decode for a future date. But again, we won't have this eclipse, the next total eclipse, until August of next year. Dick Joran died 1 year, 6 months, and 4 days before that eclipse, matching his reverse gematria, 164. But what makes this even more special is that his last name, Joran, equals the 164th prime number in the Latin method. Shout out Casey in the chat. I knew it was a little quiet. I was actually wondering if YouTube was working for me there. But shout out to everybody who made the live stream. Again, it's been a while. I know I may have fallen from some of your graces, but, you know, it's a practice that never runs old here on this channel. Now, earlier I mentioned George W. Bush and his father, George H.W. Bush. Now, George H.W. Bush was a topic of my video on the plane crash in Philadelphia, which was exactly 223 weeks after Bush Sr.'s death. And Bush's full name matches Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in gematria. Don't forget, guys, the last video on my channel is about the death of another Bears executive, Virginia McCaskey, the owner of the team. Died just 2 days before Dick Joran. I should have brought that up earlier, but certainly strong connections here. Now, measuring from the death of Bush Sr. to the death of Dick Joran is 2,263 days. And we've grown accustomed to this 263, a number connected to the order of the skull and bones, or skull and crossbones, over there at Yale. And this also reflects the current lunation number. We are currently under Brown lunation 1,263. Dick died 1 year, 26 weeks, and 3 days before the next time the moon completely covers the sun. Again, this same eclipse in 2026. Now, this same measurement is also 550 days. And notice how this is the date numerology of his death. 55, matching Chicago Bears in reduction. This also another number connected to sacrifice, 55. But what about the 55th prime number, 257? Total solar eclipse, blood sacrifice, Yale University, and even the sport of football, all sharing this 257 gematria, the 55th prime. And this guy, a Chicago Bears coach, 55, dying on a 55 date, 550 days before that eclipse. So I try not to talk about eclipses too often, but sometimes the connections are undeniable, and I believe that's what we're seeing here. Remember the first number we discussed, his age, 74, also a significant eclipse number. So for the last part of this video, I want to talk about the number of the beast and how the number 666 is coded into this. And again, the Chicago Bears, as I pointed out earlier, currently sitting on 666 losses. Dick Joran had birth numerology of both 32 and 23. And this brings us back to that special date in the year 2023, when Order 322 turned 223 years old. This happened on a very special date, October 9th of that year. Well, notice how Dick Joran died exactly 16 months after that date. 16 is the gematria of Yale in reduction. The numbers 223 and 322, both 106 in reduction as well. And on this significant date down here, October 9th, 2023, look at how old Dick Joran was. 26,666 days. What about the current coach of the Bears, Ben Johnson? He was 13,666 days old on that same date. Brotherhood of Death equals 666 when you add the four base methods together. Again, 187, 299, 87, and 83. These four numbers equals 666. The Brotherhood of Death also matches Number of the Beast, 724. When the Lions lost in a game where the Commanders got their 666th win, the Lions picked up their 724th loss. Had the Lions won that game, it would have been their 616th win. And 616 is the other number of the beast. And if you think this is nonsense, please do check out my video called Ring of Fire with Johnny Cash in the thumbnail. I made this video before the playoffs and told everybody exactly what would happen, basically. Joran's full name also has 311 gematria, like the Beast 311. And I didn't mean to get sidetracked here, but this 311, the Beast, this was a number that was just attributed in qualifying for the Daytona 500. Driver Tyler Reddick this year is driving the Beast car for 23XI Racing. You see the Beast logo right there on his jersey. And this is what's on his car this year, the 6% alcoholic beverage, the Beast. And Tyler Reddick qualified 11th, while his teammate Bubba Wallace won the first dual race and is starting third. So number 3 and 11, the two teammates, connected to this Beast code. If you want more on my notes on the Daytona 500, I made a post back on the 4th. You can find my blog linked below in the description for this video. And there really is a huge riddle for Tyler Reddick. I have no idea if this points to success for him in the race. This is my first year looking at NASCAR races before they happened. And, you know, as a disclaimer, I have no idea what I'm talking about. But I did notice that there's an interesting riddle with Michael Jordan this year, the owner of the team. Because Jordan turns 62 years old the day after the race, which matches his gematria. And Tyler Reddick has the same 62 gematria as 500. And he'll be 62 days after his birthday for the Pi Day Eclipse, which falls on a date with 62 numerology. So there's a lot to pack into what's going on there, but again, I'll let you check that post out on my blog. So in the King James Bible, 666 is written as 666. And I want you to note this gematria. First of all, in reduction, you get 133. And remember, this was Joran's best record in 2001, 13-3 with the Bears. Well, in the alphabetic order, this sums to 313, the same digits. Dick Joran died exactly 313 lunar orbits after the 9/11 attacks. A lunar orbit, measuring the time it takes the moon to orbit the Earth, of course. A little over 27 days. This 313 is also the 65th prime number, and 65 is the value of both Dick Joran and Yale. So no doubt a lot to unpack there, but I did want to go over two quick notes that I had regarding this whole thing. For starters, on the 9/11 attacks, check out Dick Joran's age. Notice how it ends with the digits 863. Of course, we ignore the zeros here. This is also 611 months, so you kind of have a 9/11 thing going on there, but this 863 stands out because if you instead measure from 9/11 to Yale's special anniversary, you get 8,063 days without the end date. Now, I point this out because the number 863 is the 150th prime number. And as I mentioned earlier, the Bears lost in the playoffs that year to the Eagles, who just won the Super Bowl. And in ordinal, Philadelphia Eagles has that 150. And from the 9/11 attacks to February 8th, the date he died, notice how he died 150 days after September 11th. Another interesting note about this game is that the Bears scored 19 points, and this was on the 19th of the month. This was achieved by a safety that the Eagles took themselves as time ran out in the game. And when Dick Joran died, notice how the date had numerology of 19. 2 plus 8 plus 2 plus 2 plus 5. Well, when you write out 19 in Latin gematria, you get this value of 244. This, by the way, is also connected to the number 666. When you search for the number of the beast in the digits of pi, you find it at the 2440th decimal digit, 244. Some call it a satanic number. Satanic also 244. Like 19. And if you measure from his death to his next, to the next anniversary of Yale University, you get 244 days. In the reverse order, 19 equals 130. And when he lost to the Eagles in the playoffs, it was 130 days after the 9/11 attacks. And of course, 9/11 on a 41 date. 19 also equals 41, which is, of course, connected to Mercury, 41. Mercury also has the 103. And just to wrap this up, this loss after the 2001 season was also 103 days after Yale's 300th anniversary. So again, a lot to dissolve there, but I think I'll call it quits there. Filled your head with enough numbers today. But it's good to get back in the swing of things. Again, I'm not feeling 100%, but good enough to sit here and pump out a few more posts. Yesterday, I also did a post on the confirmation of RFK Jr. as the new U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services. Who would have thunk it, right? Just a few years ago, this guy was getting banned off of social media. He was getting called a kook. And he's definitely got some kooky things about him. But I got some kooky things about me too, which I know shocks each and every one of you. So anyway, this was all synced up to the Pi Day eclipse as well. And also some fascinating riddles with the World Health Organization and their declaration of coronavirus back in 2020. And with all these plane crashes going on this year, remember JFK Jr. died in a plane crash in 1999. And now we get this huge riddle for RFK Jr. entering the government. And it's fascinating stuff. So do check that out. Again, the blog is linked down below in the description. But that's going to do it for this one, everybody. So whether you're watching live or archived, thank you so much. If you'd like to support the work, there's links in the description for that as well. Also, a couple of related posts and videos you can find. So with that, peace, love, God bless. We'll talk to all you crazy fools next time. See ya.